All right, it is almost 4:05 and the participant ticker is slowing, so we'll kick this off. Good afternoon if you're on the East Coast. Hello to all of our folks joining us from around the country and around the world. My name is Grace Sullivan. I'm the Associate Director of New Student and Family Programs. And for students, this is our last STS webinar, Welcome to Duke. And this year we invited families to join us as well as part of our parent and family orientation programming. So welcome to all of you. We're really glad you're here. And I'm going to let my colleague introduce himself.
Good afternoon, morning, as Grace said, just hello to everybody. My name is Jordan Hale. I have the privilege of working in New Student and Family Programs as well with Grace. I'm really excited to be here with you all to not only answer your questions, but to show you some good pieces about some of the things that we have planned for Move-In Day and for the start of the year, and to get us excited about joining this Duke family that we are anxiously excited to join and really excited to meet you all. To our parents and families, we can't thank you enough for trusting us with your loved ones. We are going to do our best to make sure that they have a quality experience when they come here to college. And to all the new students who are joining us, we are really excited for you to join this community. It has been a wild, 18 months for all of us. And so we are excited to really get you here to Durham, to have you experience Duke, see what it means to be a Blue Devil and all the great things that come with that. So welcome today.
A few housekeeping items. You are welcome to add questions in the Q&A feature at the bottom. We will hope to take some questions at the end. We're going to start by walking through what move-in looks like. We know there's lots of questions about the arrival process, and move-in day is an exciting tradition here on campus. And there's some ways in which it's also going to look a little bit different as we make sure that campus is safe for students and for families. Jordan, do you want to kick us off and talk through move-in day?
Sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start us with a couple of pieces and just talk about the specific move-in times and patterns. And you all may know some of this already because you've received information from hopefully housing assignments or been getting emails from the university, but I'm just going to kind of walk us through and get us started with that. So if you don't know, there are some students who are already here because they're participating in pre-orientation programs, right? And some pre-orientation programs start next week. And then some students will come for international move-in, which we can talk about a little bit as well. But for everyone else, move-in day and the big move-in day that we're excited about is Tuesday, August 17th. And so that's the right date, right, Grace? We've been doing a lot. So okay, I got that right. Good. 1 for 1. So on that day, on that Tuesday, beginning at 8 o'clock in the morning, we will begin welcoming you all onto campus to get moved in. And this year, we are doing 4 different move-in times. Those times are from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., from 10 a.m. to noon, from noon to 2 p.m., and from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. And during those 2-hour blocks, we're going to move in different residence halls on different parts of campus. In the 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock slot, we're going to be welcoming all of our incoming students who live in Trinity, all of our students who live in Brown, and all of our students who live in East. Again, from 8 to 10 is Trinity, Brown, and East. From 10 to 12, we'll be welcoming our students that live in Gilbert Adams, in Randolph, in Pegram, and in West Residence Hall. From noon o'clock to 2, we'll be welcoming all of our students for Bell Tower, Bassett, Southgate, and Giles. And then from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we're going to welcome all of our residents for Wilson, Blackwell, and Allspa. A couple of different pieces about your move-in times. Let's say that you are in the 2 o'clock group. So you are an incoming student, you're living in Blackwell, and you want to go ahead and try to come to East Campus early because you just want to walk around East Campus, and you may be thinking, I'll just come to East Campus and park. That's going to be incredibly difficult because we're going to be trying to move in all of the other students who live in different residence halls. So our recommendation and our sort of practices on that day are, if you do want to come to East Campus, we're going to have buses running from the Science Drive garage where everybody is parking to East Campus all throughout the day. So you will be able to go park in the Science Drive garage and come to East Campus if you would like. We'd recommend that you don't do that. We think there are other things you can do to kind of get that day started, but if you wanted to do that, you certainly could. Every student is going to have to come and do testing as a part of our COVID policies. And so all of the testing components will be happening on East Campus in Brody Gym. And we can go through some of those specifics a little bit later just so we can iron out what that's going to look like. But that is the general move-in flow. All incoming students were sent through their housing portal, pieces of information about what moving day is going to look like. I'm actually going to pull up one of those packets here. And if I can, I really would love to share my screen, which I think I can, so that everybody can see what a sample packet would have looked like to make sure that you have received this so you know exactly how the day is going to flow. Let's see if this is going to work. Come on, technology. All right, everybody see that? See it, Grace? Perfect. So this is an example for a student who lives in Wilson House. So if you look at it, it tells you the time of your arrival, which this is a PM arrival, and your entrance number. All of you all have received a specific entrance number of where you need to be moving on to East Campus. So for this particular group that's living in Wilson, they're a PM arrival and they're going to be coming into entrance 1. And what's nice about that is that down here, it tells you specific details about your time, location, and specifics about the day. So we want to make sure that all families have received this. Students, make sure that your families who maybe want to see this and need to know this have this information. Some of you may be participating in pre-orientation programs before you go. Make sure that your families have this info so that they can be set if they're going to be coming after they get you settled. And then for each entrance, we detail specifically where you're going to be loading in from. So again, it's very, very detailed. This is an example for entrance 1. So it gives you exactly where you need to go. And then we conclude those pieces after some directions with how to get to the Science Drive garage. So we've tried to lay it all out there for everybody to get them the specific information that they need to make the moving process smooth. Of course, there are always going to be questions and our team is ready and here and excited to help. Speaking of that help, we have people who are going to do that for us. And so I am going to, and I see questions are coming in, which is great. I am going to show you all some screenshots of the people who are going to be helping us on that day. So first and foremost, we are going to have move-in volunteers. You're going to see people, they may not be as handsome as this particular model here with this shirt, but we are going to have people who are going to be in these Welcome Devil shirts who are going to be welcoming you all. And so if you need some help or if you have a question on this day, find somebody in the Welcome Devil shirt. They are going to be here and ready to help you. Most of them will be university staff members, but we also may have some students who are wearing these shirts because they're going to be helping us with our move-in process to get things in and out of your vehicles when you arrive on move-in day. So if you need to know who to look for, you're going to be looking for folks in these Welcome Devil shirts. And thank you to the Duke stores for providing our shirts for us. Now, a lot of people may have thought about Duke's move-in in the past, and they may remember all the students who come in what I call Skittle colored t-shirts and go to the cars and take the luggage and things out of the cars. We are bringing that practice back. We are going to have our first year advisory counselors doing that this year. We are excited about that. And so when you come for your move-in slot, the goal is really to come. We can help you get everything out of your car as quickly as we can. We'll be wearing our masks, going into the residence halls, getting everything set up in your rooms, or at least taken up to your rooms. And then we're going to ask the cars to go and park in the Science Drive garage. And so that is a general overview of what the day is going to look like and what the people are going to look like. I know there may be some specific questions and some things that Grace wants to address as well, but I just wanted to provide that general overview of the things you can look forward to on move-in day this year.
Yeah, I'll add a little bit more now that we have sort of that broad view about some of the details after you arrive. So you've pulled up to your residence hall, there's staff there to help, there are students cheering and chanting, ready to help you. Once you get your items in your room, what we're actually asking you to do is to not spend hours unpacking, but instead come over to Brody Gymnasium where we're going to have our next steps. What's critical here this year is that that's where entry testing is. And so we need all students to go through entry testing for COVID first thing when they get here, or right after they get into the residence hall, just so that we're following all policies and procedures to make sure campus is safe. Also in Brody, there will be lots of campus partners for you to meet, get information from, talk with, technology support, all of those things. We're trying to centralize a lot of support there so that you can pick up more supplies and get more questions answered. Then you can go back and unpack. One of the things you might also run into in Brody is as you pick up your materials, you might be told that you need to go talk to student health about some immunizations and vaccines. So if there's something from that health form that you submitted earlier this semester that they have a question about or need follow-up, you'll be asked to go visit them. They are actually going to be on West Campus this year, partially because of the requirements of the COVID vaccine. They're keeping all of their items and staff in one place. So if you're in one of those earlier groups and you have time to go over to West, please, please, please go to West on Tuesday. That means you're just getting more of those nuts and bolts out of the way, and you can enjoy the rest of the week and not worry about other appointments that you have to find time for. Let's say you come later in the day, you have a later move in, you don't have time to get over to Penn to talk to student health about your immunizations. We've also built in time Wednesday morning in the orientation schedule for you to go. So that is a critical piece that we hope that you'll be able to do Tuesday. If not, you can do it Wednesday. I will say also, as we transition into this quickly and talk a little bit about families, and then we can take some questions. I know there's lots of questions. If you're a family member and you're able to drop your student off, we're thrilled and excited that you'll be on campus. We do expect that you will be with your student on Tuesday, helping them unpack. You are welcome to do that. And then in the evening, we will start to have some family specific programming. So on Tuesday night, there's a welcome family social that will be on West Campus. It'll start right as students have student only required events. So we have something for students and families on separate campuses at the same time. You'll be able to meet and greet some other families, make some connections, hear from some staff members on campus, but it will be a great opportunity for you to also unwind. Move-in day is a big day. There's a lot going on. There might be a lot of emotions for moving your student in. And so we hope that you'll join us on West Campus for that. On Wednesday, we will have continued in-person family programming, which is the second part of our parent and family orientation schedule. The first part is now, and it's virtual. So on Wednesday morning, there'll be a session with leadership from the Division of Student Affairs and the Office of Undergraduate Education, and you'll be able to hear more about the student experience and student opportunities. And then that is followed by a wellness session. So you can hear from our colleagues in the Student Wellness Center. And then you're all invited to new student convocation, which is in Cameron Indoor Stadium. And then we'll ask everyone to leave campus by 2 p.m. It might seem abrupt, but what we're really asking is for you to partner with us and allow us to keep doing our thing with your students and help them really acclimate to campus, make a sense of belonging here before classes start. And students, we have a packed and exciting week for you to help orient you to campus resources, make connections among peers, and settle in before our upperclassmen return. That was a quick overview of a lot of items. I do have to mention before we open up for questions that right now there is a masking policy on campus, all indoor spaces. Students and families and staff and everyone are required to mask indoors. That also applies to our buses. Our buses and transportation workers are working really hard to provide critical transportation across campus, and masks are required there. So we do ask that you bring that mask with you to campus. Families, keep it with you at all times. Students, that's also your expectation for the fall, that you always have a mask on you so that you're ready to go into a building. All right, with that, we'll transition to questions. Jordan, are you seeing a great question we should start with?
It's a good question, Grace. There are a couple that have come in a couple of different places. So let me kind of pull them up over here. We can make sure we jump into these. So I think generally there are questions about how would people get to campus on movement day, and are there a couple of different ways where that can happen? So, yes, you can take an Uber if you want to get to campus. You can, drive on the campus if you're coming in a vehicle. The key for us is just that you come at your assigned time. I think that's the most important thing, just so we don't have an overflow of traffic and things like that, because it's going to be busy as is. And if you come at a time that's outside of your time, that residence hall might not be prepared or prepped ready for you to come and move in. And so yes, is it important that people come at their assigned time, and there's a variety of ways you can get to campus. So I think that's a good one to start with. We got a couple of others coming in here. How many buses will be accessible on the C1 routes? There will be, it's going to be a little bit under the normal number, and that's only because there are some, I just learned this from parking this morning. There are just some staffing challenges. I think people are feeling this honestly across the country, and transportation is another one of those, but we will have enough and our buses will be large enough to get people to and from West Campus as needed. The team in Parking and Transportation has assured our team of that. And there will be specific buses that are C1 routes, but then also buses that are going directly from the Science Drive garage also back to East Campus. And our police team and our transportation team are going to make sure that that gets taken care of. So we will have that for you. How long will the line be for the 8 a.m. move in? Should you, coming at 7 or 7:15 to wait in line, coming early is, I don't think going to help too much, just going to kind of come and sit. Some people come right at the beginning of their slot and that works, but we give it a 2-hour window so that we can make sure we get everybody in. That tends to be plenty of time to get all the different residence halls moved in. We've done it in an hour and a half in the past for some halls. And so I think the decision this year to have every hall be at 2 hours is a good one. And so I think if you come in the beginning or sometime in the middle, it should work either way. We're going to have students that are there to help and unload the vehicles. So we're going to leave that up to you. But I think coming really early and sitting and waiting is not really the best strategy, just from having done this for a while. So there's a question that's coming about where they can find a parking pass. I believe that it was, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Grace, but I believe that it's in students' housing portal, but maybe it was sent to students via email. I'm not 100% sure how it was sent to the families, but I believe it was through their housing portals they can access that information.
If your student does not have it, it was only sent to the student, you can contact our office if you send the email to student-orientation@duke.edu, and we can follow up. But it should have, I think it's actually sent to the email, but through the housing system. So only one copy to the student. Check with your student. If they don't have it, send an email to us at student-orientation@duke.edu.
All right, so there's another question about, will students who are participating in pre-orientation have an additional COVID test on move-in day? They'll be put in a part of our testing protocol for their time of the semester. So if they come for their pre-orientation program, they will be getting emails regularly about when they need to go and do their COVID test. So that's kind of what that process will look like for those particular students. Students who are coming to pre-orientation, do they need to come on 8/17? No, if you're coming to a pre-orientation program, come on the date that's communicated to you. Project Search is already here. So if there are families who have students in Project Search, they're here and they're having a great time. So nope, you will just come on your pre-orientation day.
Can I just jump in? So those students may not have had a long time to settle into their room during pre-orientation programs. So the 17th is a great day to settle in more. They do not need to test that day because they will have already done their entry testing and they'll already be in our surveillance testing pool. So they'll just start testing when they get those notifications. But they should still come to Brody to check in and get the rest of their materials on the 17th.
Thank you, Grace. And just as a general piece here, Grace and I are doing our best to manage the questions they are coming in. If people can ask the questions via the Q&A feature, I think that'll be really helpful for us. Coming in for the chat, we tried to respond to some of those, but we're looking at 2 different screens right now. We want to do our best to pay attention to answer those. So for those who have questions in the chat, if you could also post those questions in the Q&A, we can keep track of those to make sure that everybody, and also that way everybody sees them, so we can do our best to make sure that those questions get answered. Here we are. It says, we'll be able to park on East Campus after 5 p.m. on Tuesday the 17th. That has been the process in the past. I'm not sure if that has shifted this year, Grace, but that's been what we've been able to do in the past. Okay, great. So after 5 o'clock p.m., you can come in and park on campus. We do have programs starting that night for parents and families and for students, as Grace mentioned before. So, but yes, you can come and park after 5 p.m. Can the parents stay in the residence hall when the student goes for the COVID testing? That's a good question. I believe as long as you're masked and abiding by our university policies, we think that's fine. And as long as one parent is also with the vehicle, whether it's downstairs in front of residence hall or going to park it, we don't want any parents staying with the cars outside because we want to keep the cars moving along. So the answer is yes, as long as you're abiding by university policy, and then also making sure that one person is with the vehicle at all times. Do parents go to Brody with the students? It is totally fine to kind of make sure your students get over there. We're going to do our best to keep Brody as de-densified as we can. It's an indoor space, and we have some other pieces in there that we want students to pick up. So I think the answer is yes, but if it does get crowded, we actually did a really nice walkthrough today, and we're going to do our best to have greeters at the doors to make sure that Brody doesn't get too crowded on the inside of it, because even though it is a gym, we want to do our best to make sure we're being COVID compliant there. So I think the answer is yes to that question, but if it gets crowded in Brody, then we may need to kind of make sure we have a good traffic flow. What else we got in here, Grace? Which one do you want to tackle next? I see there's one in here that what happens if a student tests positive for COVID? Do you have any good information about that, Grace? How would you respond to that one?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it makes sense that it's on all of our minds. What is important, I think, to tell all of our students and families is that we have a robust system in place to support students if they test positive. In an ideal world, no one this year would test positive, but given the climate right now and numbers, that's probably not likely. We've had a year of practice. We've had a year of support. What happens, a student would be called by a nurse if they tested positive, and they would be given specific information for their case. So they'll have a nurse assigned to them, a caseworker assigned to them, and they'll figure out what they do in that instance. We do have quarantine and isolation facilities on campus. There will be folks checking in on your student every day from across campus. All I can say over and over is we'll have your students, we'll care for your students. It's not easy. I'll speak to families for a minute to have your student get sick while you're far away. But I feel really confident and really honored to have colleagues who have worked really hard for the last year and a half to develop robust systems of support to meet the emotional and the medical needs of students who are in quarantine, or in isolation. So if that happens, we'll take care of it. But we're hoping for as few positives in that first week as possible, and really excited to orient your students to campus.
I see a couple of questions, Grace. Thank you, Grace. First of all, that was really well done. Great answer. I see a couple of questions that have come in about dining on this particular day. And so we are going to have food available for folks. It's going to be a grab and go piece from the marketplace. And I believe that's going to be from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Is that correct, Grace? So we're going to have food available from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. I know those who have come in the past know we've traditionally done a big sort of barbecue, and we're just, with everything going on this year, we want to be as safe as we can to protect not only ourselves, but also our dining staff. And so we are going to be having that program. So there will be food provided on that evening. Let's see here. Thank you for getting the questions. They are flying in, which is great. It says, when will students pick up their computers ordered through the Duke store? So this might be a good time to just talk about how Brody Gym is set up. So Brody Gym is our gym that we have on East Campus, and it's been converted to our testing facility and our sort of packet distribution and one-stop shop for move-in day. So people will be greeted at the door. There'll be a station where people can get their blue box, which includes a mask and some other things, or 3 masks and other things to kind of help keep students safe during the COVID period. There then is going to be a station where you can go and get information about your Duke card. And also in the gym, there's going to be a station where you can go and get things set up like your computer and things like that. So we have an area in the back where our team from our technology office, from the Office of Information and Technology, is going to be set up to help people set up their computers, make sure they're compliant in ways they need to be compliant, make sure you have all your programs, troubleshoot any questions. And so that will take place in Brody Gym as well. So all that stuff is going to be happening all in the same place. Let's see. What time do sessions start for the families on Wednesday? Grace, did you kind of walk through that a little bit?
On Wednesday, they're going to start at 9 a.m. on West Campus. And then convocation ends around noonish. And then we actually also have a resource fair that will be an opportunity for students and families to just meet some more campus partners before families depart at 2 p.m. on Wednesday.
Great. I saw a question too about students bringing their vaccination cards for COVID. I keep mine in my wallet just to have it. So I don't think it's a bad idea just to have it. That's not a requirement, but I think it's just a good idea just to kind of keep it with you.
Most students, all students have been asked to submit that as part of their health records this semester. If you haven't, certainly bring that with you because student health will need to see that. I found a great question, Jordan. This family's coming from California and they have weather questions. This is refreshing because this is the real stuff that is about adjusting to a new climate. So the question is, the forecast says scattered thunderstorms. How disruptive is that? Do we wear rain gear or flip-flops? Maybe we could talk about attire for move-in day. This is not a silly question. This is such a real question. So thank you for asking this.
Yeah, no, and it's funny, you know, being the weather person for the state of North Carolina, you know, it's almost impossible. You know, you could say if you want the weather to change, kind of wait 20 minutes. So I would say generally it's going to be warm. So I would wear clothing that's going to be light, you know, short sleeve t-shirt because it's going to be pretty hot. August in North Carolina can be pretty warm. I would also say that, you know, you want to come prepared for the weather to change at any moment. We haven't gotten rain. I'm knocking on some wood on move-in days in a long time. But you know, this might be the year, right? So just come prepared for that. If it does rain and it's dangerous, we would work with police to kind of organize how we would pause things. But we've done a little bit of moving in light rain in the past. And so, but I think the key is to come ready for it to be warm. I would wear closed-toed shoes just because you're going to be moving stuff around. So I think wearing closed-toed shoes is smart. But yeah, I think those are the key things that I would say.
That brings up another great point. I saw some questions, I can't even locate them now, that were sort of, I'd categorize them as what if questions. What if this happens on move day? What if this happens on move-in day? What if someone gets hurt when we're moving something? When I said that move-in day at Duke is a big deal, I mean, it's a big deal. There are partners across campus and in Durham who work with us almost all year round coordinating this. So that includes Durham Police to make sure that traffic flow is okay. It means Duke Police for all sorts of responses. It means EMS. It means staff across campus. So if you have a question, if something happens that doesn't feel like the way it was supposed to happen on move-in day, just come find a staff member and we will be sure to support you. We will actually have a tent on the center of East Campus Quad, as well as an info desk in Brody Gym, where those are just Q&A. So if you have any question, that's always a place that you can go. The tent on campus will also be where we'll have, I think, some EMS and police if needed. So we'll have this covered. We're really excited for the day.
Right. There's another question here, Grace, and I think we maybe talked about this a little bit, but I just wanted us maybe if you can rehash if people, if they have a 2 o'clock move in, kind of what they can do earlier in the day to kind of help get prepared. I think that might be good just for parents and families and students to hear once more.
Yeah. So if you have the 2 o'clock and you are just really eager and here, you are welcome to park on West and take the bus over here to East. But by no means do you need to do that. You will have time to come in during your move-in slot, then go to Brody and then unpack. That's the advice I would give.
Awesome, great, thank you. So we got a couple of other questions that have come in about meals again. So in terms of lunch and dinner on the 17th and breakfast on the 18th. So I believe students' meal plans are going to be activated. I want to say, I think it's either Wednesday night or Thursday morning, but the meals that are taking place, obviously Tuesday night is covered by us. Wednesday breakfast is not, but we have the convocation lunch that takes place. And then we will have another meal that we're providing. We are covering Wednesday. We're covering Thursday lunch as well for students. And I believe the meal plan kicks in for students on Thursday. So meals are, we do our best to try to make sure those are taken covered until the meal plan turns on for students. So just wanted to make that clear for folks because that question had come in.
There's a question about convocation. So convocation on Wednesday is something that is for students, but families are welcome to join and attend. If anyone is not able to or doesn't want to be inside with folks, that will be recorded and available afterwards on Duke's YouTube page. Another question, do students stay in the residence halls on Tuesday, or do they stay in a hotel with their families? Their room is theirs from the moment they move in. We hope that they'll stay in their room on Tuesday night. Students are gonna have a first, I don't wanna say busy night, but they'll have things to do the first evening. Their programming, they're gonna meet their RAs, they're gonna have some exciting social events that might look a little something like a carnival. And so we really hope that that first night will be about meeting folks, starting to create connections. And that also means meeting people in their halls and staying there. So while families do have some programming on campus on Tuesday and Wednesday, students have programming during that time too that we ask them to go to so they can start to get acclimated to campus.
Seen a couple of questions that have come in about attire for convocation. I would say, it's, what would you say, Grace, like casual, come as you are. The faculty will be in their regalia, and there'll be a processional, and we'll hear from the president, most likely our vice provost, Dean Bennett. I think we hear from a couple of students, but for parents and families and students, it's a casual event. So yeah, want to make sure we responded to that question.
There's more parking questions. So I'm going to clarify this again. On Tuesday, that parking pass that your student receives allows you access onto East Campus during a small window. So even though it might say 2 to 4 p.m., you line up in a queue, they start letting the queue go at 2 for those residence halls. Once you get to your residence hall, the car gets unpacked and that driver is going to continue driving within a matter of minutes. It's shocking how fast we can get people in and out. That driver has to then immediately exit campus and take their car over to West Campus to Science Drive Garage. That is the only way that we can get about 1,200 students moved in that day, which is about how many come on that day. So in campus, out of campus, parked in Science Drive Garage. Again, you can come back to campus on East Campus after 5 o'clock. If let's say you have another run or you've gone to Target to get some gear, you can bring that car back at 5 o'clock. The same parking pass that grants you access during that 2-hour window will also grant you access after 5 p.m. But in terms of long-term parking, Science Drive Garage is really the dedicated space for both Tuesday and Wednesday. For families, your programming on Wednesday is all on West Campus. So you'll have your car over there.
All right, I'm just looking through some of these questions we have answered, so that's good.
There's one about student health that I think's worth reiterating again. When your student checks in at Brody, they will be informed whether they need to see student health or not. If they're informed they need to, it is mandatory. We will make sure that your student or students, I'll speak to you, will make sure that you go to see student health. It doesn't mean you're in trouble. It means they have a question or they need to follow up about something. We just need to make sure your health records are in place before the semester starts. So students will be communicated on Tuesday.
There are a couple of questions about the orientation schedule, and our team is working vigorously to make sure that that is completed and up where people can get it this year, like we have done when we've done orientation the last couple of years before our COVID orientation last year. We have an app for our orientation schedule. It's Duke Guides. You can go to any app store and download the Duke Guides app. The app is not up and ready right now. Our goal is to have it up and ready next week. And it'll have all the information in there, not only for new student orientation, but also for parent family orientation. We work with our peers in international orientation and also our incoming transfer students. So I would say check out next week in your app store, the Duke Guides app, and we'll be able to give you information for the orientation schedule then. And the orientation schedule outlines everything that's going to happen on that Tuesday through Sunday. So I've seen a couple of questions of, hey, I would love to go to dinner with my loved one on Saturday night or on Sunday, kind of what's the schedule. So once you get a chance to look at that app, you can kind of see that. I will say your students are going to be busy. In order to build that community that we want, we have to be thoughtful about the programming that we have. And so while we don't want them to be exhausted, we do want to provide lots of opportunities to meet new friends and connect with new people. And this is exciting for all of us. So know that they will be busy. So if they say, hey, mom, dad, parent, loved one, I can't make it, it's not because they don't want to, it's just because we have a lot of things planned for them.
I'm just going to say one more time, this is an active webinar. We have more than 150 questions that have been asked. So asking for your patience one more while we try to sort through and provide some content. I will plug and should have plugged earlier, this is being recorded and it will be available afterwards. So if you missed that question, you can come back, listen to this. We'll post it on our YouTube page and on our website in about 24 to 48 hours. Just give us time to transcribe it for accessibility and we will post it.
I saw a question in here just about asking when can you see your students again and when is the opportunity to kind of say a formal goodbye. So we don't, some orientation, some of my peers who work in orientation across the country, they have formal parts of their programs where students and families wave bye-bye to each other, and it's kind of the start of that separation. We sort of ease people into that by starting things over the summer and then kind of getting here ready for orientation week. I would say most families tend to leave after the formal programming for families ends, which is on that Wednesday. And so, while we don't do anything formal, we would encourage everyone to kind of think about that being the time to say, all right, take care of yourself. And we promise to do our best to take care of them while they're here. And so we don't do anything formal, but that is for us and how we look at our schedule, the kind of best time to kind of make that transition.
There's another question about health forms. And the question is actually whether we can figure out if the health forms are incomplete so that we know before move-in day. At this point, Student Health is continuing to review thousands of files to make sure we're ready for move-in day. They are already starting with entry testing and catching immunizations that aren't up to date with students who are already on campus, our pre-orientation programs, our graduate professional students. This is a long way of saying we're gonna have to wait until move-in day to know that at this point. I would recommend if you're a family member and you're nervous that your student doesn't have the things that they need to check in with Student Health, make a file, make sure that your students have those in their possession, and Student Health will be able to walk through things with them. Yeah. Lots of questions too about this. Move into the residence hall and then go to Brody, and then can families stay? Yes, so families can stay in the residence hall. Again, as long as one family member has moved that car along, you can stay and help your student unpack. If you have some more time before evening programming, you could go do errands and pick up more items if you need. Tuesday's schedule until we get to the evening is built to be pretty flexible. One, so that we can get all students and families in and off campus in their car, but two, just so that there's some time to settle in, so that hopefully students can feel, that their bed is set up before they go off to do their evening programming. We know for families, sometimes that's a really special time to help your student set up their new room, their new home away from home. So yes, absolutely. I think that's a critical piece, that there's an opportunity for students and families to spend some time together on Tuesday and start that transition together.
See a question here that I think is a good one, just about health and wellness, and kind of do we have programming specific on East Campus or space on East Campus? The health and wellness building is on West Campus and it's a beautiful facility. We don't have anything of that scale here on East Campus. I believe there's the East Campus Oasis, which is in Bell Tower. It may be closed for the semester, but I know that is there. And then the team in health and wellness does an amazing job of providing programs on both East and West Campus. So whether it's virtual opportunities or things that they look to host here on East, there's still a variety of ways to practice wellness practices for those students who do live on East Campus. So While we don't have that type of facility on East, there are still opportunities to engage in health and wellness programming here on East Campus.
3 other shameless plugs. In Brody, students will be able to pick up what we call the blue box, and it's some welcome health and wellness materials. So that's one thing you can look forward to. That's a tradition here on campus. And then both students and families will have opportunities to learn more about our health and wellness offerings through orientation. So we had a webinar for families yesterday. It was especially geared towards our families who won't be able to attend in person, but that is recorded and will be posted on our website soon. Families will also have a health and wellness in-person orientation session on Wednesday, and students will have a few sessions throughout the week to talk about all sorts of different dimensions of wellness while a student here at Duke.
We have another question about there being a shuttle from the bus to the airport. I don't think we have anything formally that we do. Rideshare programs tend to be the best options. But I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think we have anything to start the semester. I know we have it to end the semester for both the fall and spring, but not anything to start. So thank you for that question. But there's not something specifically provided by Duke that I'm aware of.
I have a correction to add to our parking pass conversation. The parking passes were issued through our housing system, but it actually sent an email to students' emails. So students, you need to check your Duke email that should have been received earlier this week. There's an essential parking pass that you and your loved ones are going to need for move-in day. And again, if you did not receive that, please email us at studentorientation@duke.edu.
All right, the students need to mask in their residence hall during move-in. If anybody's going to be indoors at any point right now, the Duke policy is to have your mask on. So if you're going to be indoors during the move-in time, yes, that mask requirement is in place. I want to make sure that we're clear about that. Is the Science Drive Garage the only place to park for parents attending Tuesday convocation, Tuesday evening programs and Wednesday convocation? I believe the answer to that is also yes. It's going to be the easiest place to park, first of all, and we're also going to have shuttles that are running back and forth from that parking lot. So like on any college campus or any place, parking is incredibly difficult. And so I would say the Science Drive Garage, particularly for West Campus, is the best place to park. Okay, here we go. All right, so we have a question about students attending convocation with their family members who attend separately with their classmates. So, at this moment, and this could change, but at this moment, I believe we are allowing parents and family members to come into Cameron for convocation. And I know people are sort of tired of hearing this, but the truth is things are changing rapidly. And so right now, that is what we're allowing. Who knows what might change? I'm really hoping that parents and families will be able to be in Cameron. We have a backup plan in case that is not the case, but right now that is the plan, is to have parents and families in Cameron. And I know that our team in athletics, our university senior leadership and others really want parents and families in Cameron as well. We want this to be a welcome back and to get students excited and engaged about the experience here at Duke. And so I know that is the anticipation. However, I do want to manage some expectations and just say, like with everything, things are going to be subject to change. But right now, yes, parents and families are welcome to Cameron for convocation.
There's a question somewhere about transfer students. So shout out to all of our transfer students who are on here and our transfer families. We're just as thrilled to welcome you on Tuesday, the 17th. Transfer students received their own unique email about move-in this week. So your instructions are a little bit different. You're some of the only people moving into West that day if you're living on West Campus. And so parking will not be as intense. There's not a 2-hour window, but your hours for arrival are between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. And so you'll start by going to the Broadhead Center for testing, and then we'll direct you to get your keys and settle in as well. and your families are welcome at all of our parent and family programming. You are going to have your own orientation schedule for transfer students. Some things will be with our first years. There's lots of big, exciting things, and some will be tailored just to you and your experience.
See a question about here, where can you pick up bedding and computers on move-in day? The computers, I believe, are going to be in Brody Gym. The bedding is actually going to be, I believe, on the East Campus quad. We're going to have a tent set up, and you'll be able to pick up those materials actually on the East Campus main quad, which is in front of the marketplace, or we'll be on the quad that's close to the marketplace into Lilly Library. So that is where you'll be able to pick up those items on move-in day. Let's see here. Answer this one. Answer this one. Keep sending these in. So we have a couple of questions that have come in about international student move-in, and our peers from the International House weren't able to make it today. But if I understand this correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, Grace, I believe international early move-in is August 13th through the 15th, and students had to register with the International House to kind of make that happen so we can make sure that your room is ready. So if you're registered as an incoming international student, August 13th through 15th, there will be a team of people who are here. They're amazing colleagues to help make sure that you get in and get settled on those particular days. Right, we talked about that one. Let's talk about the parking pass. Is there a limit on the number of family members who can attend convocation? You have a group of 5. Not that I've heard of so far. Yeah, not that I've heard of so far. So welcome. If you rented a micro fridge, where do you pick it up? Grace, do you know the specific answer to that? I know in the past we've had a couple of different places on campus where micro fridges can be picked up. Do you know what kind of the plan is for that right now?
I believe we are hoping they will be in residence halls.
All right, well, that's amazing. Great.
Jordan,
Yes.
what happens if a family has more than one vehicle and or needs to make more than one trip to East Campus during move-in?
Oh, this is a great question. So I believe that the parking passes that we provide are for one vehicle. So we're really trying to have folks come in one vehicle. If you really have to have more than one, I think if you can go in and maybe park in the garage and kind of come maybe one vehicle at a time might be the easiest way to do it. I know it's a little bit cumbersome, but just because of the amount of cars and traffic, if we allowed more than one vehicle per family, we would never get everybody moved in. So I believe we really want to try to stick to that one vehicle. If you have an extenuating circumstance, please email our office, student-orientation@duke.edu. We've seen a variety of vehicles come on move-in day. Remember that students are going to be carrying the materials out of the car. So every time they see a U-Haul or somebody once came in an RV, they kind of laugh about it. So know that has happened in the past, but we really try to stick it to one vehicle just for the ease of our process. We always get a question about kind of dimensions of the dorm rooms and things like that. Because of when these were built and just kind of the size and shape, every room is a little bit different. There are some standard pieces to some residence halls, but some have closets in different places. Some are set up differently. Our team in residence life has done a really good job of trying to capture the general spirit of what the residence hall rooms look like. And those are posted on our housing website. And then I often see on the parent family Facebook pages, there are people are posting pictures of rooms and things like that. So it's tough to say specifically what a room is going to look like just because all the rooms and dimensions are different. But we do our best to try to give people a general understanding, and really coming and seeing the room first and then making decisions on how some of the things you want to set up is often a good idea.
And I'll add, I was just about to type to a family or a student who asked about bed heights as well. Also on the Housing and Residence Life website, there are details about how high beds in different residence halls can be. So make sure you check out the Housing and Residence Life website. I thought of something else that I'm not sure we discussed, which is what sort of tips and tricks can we provide to students and families before they arrive to make move-in day as seamless as possible? And one of the ones, I'll let Jordan if he has any other ideas, but one of the things I thought of that I don't think we talked about yet is labeling all of your bags and boxes with your room number. So when you show up, there are going to be some students help you move items in. If there's any item you don't want them to move and you want to move your own, that's okay. You can say that and you can say, I want to carry this one. Totally understand that, but they're there to help. And so the best way that we can move things quickly that day and make sure everything gets into your room is if you label everything with your room. So taking some, I don't know, painter's tape or attaching labels to your bags and your boxes will help us run smoothly.
I think my tip for the day is probably bring a water bottle and do your best to stay hydrated. It can be a warm day. So I think that's good. And you know, it's just an exciting day for everybody. And not every, you know, so I think being prepared for the excitement, for the jubilation, for things to happen very quickly. You know, a pro tip of mine is a lot of times people want to come really early for their move-in slot. And sometimes if you wait 30 minutes or so, the line isn't as long depending on which residence hall you're moving in. So that's another pro tip I've had some parents tell me in the past. So yeah, those would be the things that I would say. But I think the real key is that water bottle the best you can to, because North Carolina August can be pretty warm.
All right, we are almost at time. So while we're sort of thinking of tips and tricks, I want us to start to wrap up. Again, this was an incredibly active and engaging move-in webinar, and we're thrilled that all of you are here. Our office will continue to send students and families information this week and next week as we prepare for move-in. So please keep your eyes peeled for more information. We'll try to highlight some of those common questions before move-in day on the 17th. If you have high-level questions that you need answered, you can still email us, studentorientation@duke.edu, but look out for that information. And I would just say, you know, this session is titled Welcome to Duke, and I hope that this is the start or the continuation of you all continuing to feel excited for the experience ahead. It's going to be a great year. I know partners even outside of our office are planning, have been planning for months, excited to welcome your class and welcome all of our students to campus. So we're feeling really excited for this year. Jordan, any departing thoughts?
No, just thank you. We are really excited. You know, we had about 55 minutes on this chat and answered 71 questions. So to do more than one question a minute is pretty impressive. And we still have quite a few we didn't get to. So I think the key for us is just thank you. We are, you know, for college administrators, last year was a challenge, right? And I know it was a challenge for families, but it was for us too. We love having your students on campus. It's what brings us energy. It was what brings us excitement. It's why we choose these careers. So the ability to welcome you all, to let you know that they're going to be in a safe environment. And for also you get a chance to see what we're bringing to the table and the things we're excited about for this year is really important to us. So just thank you in advance for trusting us. We're going to do our best each and every day. We're really excited to see y'all here for some of you in a couple of days, and then for the rest of you on August 17th. So thank you.
And I will say one last time, we did record this session. It will be posted actually on both the new student programs website and the parent and family programs website. And we'll be sharing links out as well in the coming days so that you all can revisit. Thank you again. Get some rest before you get here. We're excited to have you.
Take care.